Hi everyone, it's Nick. Welcome back to my channel. Okay, in this video today, we are going to be talking about how to style a television, or maybe even how to hide a television. Because here's the deal, let's talk about televisions for a minute, right? Like, they're ugly. They're not really the most attractive things. They're just really kind of this big, empty black box that just sort of sits in your living room or a bedroom or whatever, and they're just really not nice. There's a reason why Architectural Digest and all these wonderful celebrity home tours and whatever, there's a reason why they don't show off a television. It's because they're ugly. And if designers had their way, we would never put televisions in our homes. But that's really not practical for most people. Most people are going to have a television. So in this video, we're going to talk about some ideas around what you can do with your television so you can maybe hide it or at least make it look a little bit better than the kind of ugly black box sitting on a plain white wall that we've all seen 1,000 times. And by the way, I see all in the comment section, there's going to be one person that's like, oh no, I hate televisions. I got rid of my TV back in like 1976 and I haven't had one ever since. Good for you. That's great. I really love Stranger Things. So I have a television and I'm gonna watch my television and not apologize for it. So we're gonna talk about that, but I see you in the comment section. Good for you. You go and listen to your NPR and read your books, but that's just not me. First, I just wanna take a quick minute and talk about today's sponsor, which is Skillshare. So Skillshare is a huge online learning community where you can learn real life skills taught by people who actually work in those fields. So I get a lot of questions about asking how I edit my videos, and Skillshare is honestly my go-to place. This is where I really actually started on YouTube and I learned how to edit my videos. So the great thing about Skillshare is how the classes are structured. You are able to take the classes at your own pace. When you want to learn is completely up to you. My all-time favorite video editing class that I ever took was Ali Abdal's video editing with Final Cut Pro 10 from beginner to YouTuber. Actually say that I would not be here if it wasn't for this course. So the first 1,000 of my viewers to sign up using my code nicklewis on my link in the description will get 1 month free trial of Skillshare so you can get started exploring your creativity today. And thank you Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to it. Okay, so my first tip for how to hide an ugly television is to put it on a dark wall. So I know some people have a fear of dark colored paint, but this is honestly the simplest and easy solution to be able to solve. And that is to just put it on top of a dark wall. Some of you are really afraid of black paint or charcoal paint because, you know, you're really kind of afraid of, you know, making your space really small, but you know what? I don't think you should really be that afraid of darker paints. It can be really gorgeous and beautiful in a space. Also, create a focal point, right? Like that's a really great opportunity to use the television as a way to make it a focal point by adding sort of black paint or charcoal paint or navy paint next to something like a white wall or a light colored wall. Beautiful way to create a focal point. But what'll happen with the television, because televisions are usually black and when they're turned off, they're gonna be a plain black screen, it's gonna minimize the effect by putting it on a dark surface. So that's honestly the simplest, easiest way I think to minimize the effect of a television is just put it on a black wall. It's gonna look gorgeous because you're basically hiding it. It's gonna trick the eye into sort of not being able to see the sort of harsh contrast that you see with a black television up against something like a white wall. So consider that as your cheapest option. Okay, so tip number 2 on how to hide an ugly television is to consider upgrading your television to something like the Samsung frame or a projector television or some sort of new sort of technology solution that basically turns your television into a piece of art or something a little bit more attractive than the plain black box that we're all used to. So these have been out for several years. They used to be super expensive, but they've really come down in price. And honestly, these are really gorgeous ways to minimize the effect and actually even turn the television maybe into something that looks good, dare I say, right? So we're not necessarily hiding it as much as we are embracing the technology and being able to create something that looks like a real piece of art. I have one at home and honestly, you really can't tell. There are some really beautiful ones that are out there. Go and take a look. I'm gonna link to some in the description for you to check out. Also, maybe consider a projector sort of television. It's kind of a newer thing that are also coming down in price right now, but that's sort of a portable option that you can bring from room to room. You could even use them outdoors. And I know they are sort of increasing in popularity as well. So that could be another option that you might want to consider as well. Okay, third option is to hide it inside a cabinet. Okay, so there's some options there, right? This is sometimes like armoires or even something like a closet that you're able to modify. This is now really getting involved here, right? But this is an option where you're able to sort of hide the TV completely when not in use. Again, these solutions are usually much more cumbersome, a lot more complicated than, you know, painting a wall or upgrading your television, but this can be a really great solution for someone that's maybe repurposing a furniture piece that they've had for a while and they want to sort of hide the TV inside of it and they're able to turn it into a nice little beautiful piece of furniture, which creates kind of a nice little effect in your living room. I remember years and years ago, long before there was frame TVs and whatever, I I went to someone's house and I was like, oh, you don't have a television. And then they opened up the kind of armoire and inside was this small television that they had. And I thought that was a really, really cool, funky solution to that problem of being able to just hide it when not in use, open up those doors when you need it. I think this is an especially good solution for people that don't love the television enough for it to get such a prominent place in their living room. And they just kind of want to sort of hide it for 90% of the time, but then they just, you know, they want their television once in a while. And so they have that option of just opening up those doors when they feel like. So for you occasional TV watchers, that might be a good solution for you. And finally, of course, this is also a really good opportunity to remind you not to hide it behind a farmhouse barn door because, as you all know, I don't care for those. Okay, and next kind of solution on how to hide an ugly TV. This is sort of to augment the other strategies that I have just discussed, but at the very least, you gotta do this one. This is the easiest solution that's not that difficult to do, and that is to hide the wires. Okay, so if you've got the plain black TV, you're not gonna upgrade, you're not in the space where you're ready to kind of buy a new TV that kind of hides these, you know, the TV a little bit more. You're not gonna go and put it in an armoire. You're not about to get out some paint, but you are looking at that kind of black box that is sitting on top of the media console, and you're just like, what can I do to sort of minimize the effect? The quickest thing that you can do is to hide the wires. Wires are ugly. I'm sorry, but there is just no way of getting around that. Wires are just not great. You do, however, have a couple of options for how to deal with the wires. The most involved solution is for you to actually stuff the wires inside the wall and come out the other side. Obviously, this is complicated. If you're in the middle of a renovation or something like that, then this might just make sense, is to be able to route the wires through the wall so that way it's completely hidden. This will give you that effect of this really beautiful sort of floating television paneled wall that you may be looking for. So that's a really great option, but again, more complicated. And then of course the other option is for you to use cord covers. So this is not going to be as nice and as sleek as hiding them inside the walls, but these are just really kind of simple plates that you can buy. I'm going to link to some in the description from Amazon. Really easy to do. You can just place the wires inside these cord covers, stuff them in there. And of course you can also paint out those wire covers as well to match the color of the wall paint that you have behind, which is great. So I hate when I see sort of someone using an off-white, which is typical for their paint wall color, but then they turn around and have these really stark white plastic cord covers. I don't think that's great. I would highly encourage you, if you do go the wire cover route, to paint them out the exact same color as the wall behind it. That way you can try to minimize the effect. So that's it for me for today, you guys. I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you are interested in darker paint colors for your wall, for your television, to try to minimize the effect, then I recommend checking out my video on decorating with black. I'm gonna link that right here, and you can learn that black is not that scary of a color and that you should consider painting your walls black to minimize your TV and because it's just cool. So go ahead and watch that video, and I will see you all in that video. Thanks a lot. Bye.